All right, everybody, get ready, because today we are diving deep into what it really means to be a giant killer.
Mm.
But, and this is important, forget battling actual giants. This is about you. We're talking about those everyday giants we all face, those little doubts, those fears that can hold you back, or even just feeling lost on your path. That's what we're tackling today.
Yeah, those are the giants that really trip us up, aren't they?
You got it. Now, you might be thinking, hold on, where's my trusty sword and shield for this battle? And you'll see, today's tool is a little unexpected. We're looking at a passage about light from this book called Light, the Art of Wealth Creation. Hang in there with me, because this one, trust me, it gets surprisingly relevant to your own journey. I promise you.
It's so true. The connection might not be immediately clear, but the author starts with this super vivid image that I think everyone can relate to. Imagine yourself walking into a pitch black room. You find that light switch, you flip it on, and suddenly, bam, light floods the whole space. You instantly see everything that was already there all along the furniture, that book you left on the floor. Maybe even that sock you've been searching for forever.
Okay, I'm with you so far.
Huh.
So the room itself didn't actually change, did it? It was always there, just hidden in the dark. The light didn't create anything new, it just revealed what was already present.
Exactly. And that is the core idea that the author's getting at here. You know, those aha moments of insight or inspiration that we all have, those moments of clarity, those are like hitting that light switch. They reveal our potential, our unique purpose, maybe even a brilliant business idea that's been hiding within us. Just like that well-lit room, it was always there inside us. We just needed the light to actually see it.
Okay, so then what's the light switch in our own lives? Is it a conversation?
Yeah.
Or a book we read? Maybe a random thought that hits you at 2 a.m.?
It could honestly be any of those things. It really could. It's about those moments when something just clicks into place, you know, and you suddenly see things with a totally fresh perspective, a new perspective. And that path you couldn't even see before, suddenly it's clear right in front of you. But, and this is a big but, where the whole giant killing aspect comes in sometimes, we hesitate, we freeze up. We let those pesky seeds of doubt creep into our minds and start telling us you're not good enough, you're not smart enough, or you're not ready for this.
Oh, tell me about it. I know those seeds of doubt all too well. Ugh. They're like weeds in the garden of your mind. You know what I mean? You got to yank them up before they choke out all the good stuff.
That's a great way to put it. And the author actually talks about how this struggle with doubt, it's a vital part of the journey. They use this metaphor of refining gold with fire.
Oh, I like that.
It's not always a fun process, you know, facing our doubts and fears, but it's through that process, that refining fire, that we actually refine our potential and come out stronger on the other side.
That makes a lot of sense. It really does. But what about those times when you do feel that spark, that drive to act on this new insight you've had, but you have absolutely no clue where to even begin? It's like you've got the light, you can see everything, but you're still kind of stumbling around in the dark, you know?
That's such a common feeling. You're definitely not alone there. And the author actually addresses this directly with the story of Samuel in the Bible.
Okay, Samuel. Remind me about him again.
So remember how Samuel kept hearing God calling to him, but he didn't even recognize it at first. He really needed some guidance, someone to help him understand what he was experiencing. And honestly, sometimes we need that too, right?
It's like that light has revealed this amazing door, but you have no idea how to get it open. You need someone to come along and point out the handle, show you the hinges, maybe even give you a little push just to get you going.
Right.
Like having someone who can say, this is a door, you open it like this.
Totally. And that's where the author brings up this other fascinating point. Guidance, it doesn't always come from another person, you know? Remember the whole David and Goliath story?
Oh yeah, classic.
Right, everyone focuses on the big showdown, David versus Goliath. But the author points out something that most people miss. David, he was already a giant killer way before he ever stepped onto that battlefield. He'd been doing it for years.
You're talking about those lions and bears he took down while he was out there protecting his sheep, right?
Exactly. And let's be clear, those weren't metaphors. He was facing down real deal teeth and claws predators. That took some serious courage.
No kidding. Talk about a crash course in courage.
Right. So those experiences, those victories he achieved when nobody was watching, those were his training grounds. They built this quiet confidence in him, an inner strength that went way beyond just, you know, physical strength. And that's a really crucial point the author makes. Sometimes the guidance we need, it comes from facing those lions and bears in our own lives.
So it's like those experiences, even the ones that feel scary or difficult at the time,
Yeah.
they're actually revealing our own inner strength.
Yes.
They're showing us what we're capable of, even if we don't realize it right then and there.
That is a brilliant way to put it. Brilliant. It's like every single challenge we overcome, it's like it adds another layer to that armor of inner faith the author talks about. By the time David faced Goliath, he wasn't relying on Saul's armor or anyone else's belief in him. He already knew he could handle himself.
Which actually brings us to another interesting part in the book. It's easy to get caught up in that whole dramatic scene with David refusing Saul's armor. But the author points out something crucial. David was already totally used to fighting alone. He'd been doing it for years, protecting his flock from danger.
And that is so important to remember because it shows you the huge difference between David's quiet confidence, and Saul's crippling doubt. Remember how the author describes those trees of fear that can grow within us? Oh man, Saul was practically drowning in a whole forest of them.
Wow. Yeah, those doubts and fears, they're contagious, aren't they?
Oh, worse.
It's like you start doubting yourself even more when everyone around you is freaking out.
Absolutely. It spreads like wildfire.
But you know what else is contagious? Courage. I mean, think about it. David's calmness, that matter-of-fact attitude he had facing down Goliath, it came from a place of such deep inner knowing,
He wasn't messing around.
No, he wasn't putting on a brave face. He genuinely believed he could handle it because he'd already faced his own personal giants out in the wilderness.
It really makes you wonder how differently Saul would have approached that whole situation if he had had those same kinds of experiences beforehand.
Right. Imagine that. And this is where I think the author's message really hits home. It's not about wishing for a life without any challenges or waiting for some external validation to go after what we want. It's about recognizing that those lion and bear moments, they're happening all the time, and they hold the key to unlocking that inner giant killer within us.
100%. And I think it's actually a good time to pause for a second and really think about that. I mean, really think about it. What are the lions and bears that you've already faced in your own life? What are those challenges you've overcome that have kind of quietly shaped who you are today?
Those victories, those are the experiences that have built that inner strength. And that's what will carry you through when your own Goliath moment comes knocking.
Exactly. And this is where the author throws in this little detail about David and Goliath that always makes me smile. Remember when the author mentions that Goliath was, quote, 4 cubits and a span tall?
Okay, I'll be honest. Every time I hear the word cubits, my brain kind of checks out. Could you break that down for me one more time?
Of course. So a cubit, it's roughly the length of your forearm, right? So we're talking Goliath being somewhere around 9 feet tall.
9 feet tall. Yikes. Yeah, I'd be rethinking my life choices if I saw that. There's got to be a butt coming here. I can feel it.
You know me too well. But here's the kicker. The author then compares Goliath's height to the size of those bears that David had already killed. And get this, according to some historical accounts, those bears, they could have been even bigger than Goliath.
Wait, are you serious? You're saying David might have already taken down something even bigger and scarier than Goliath without even realizing it?
It's possible.
That changes everything.
Right. It makes you wonder if those lions and bears we face in our own lives, those challenges that seem so overwhelming at the time, what if they're actually preparing us for something even bigger and more amazing than we can even imagine right now? And maybe, sometimes, the biggest giant we have to face is actually just our own perception of the challenge.
Whoa, my mind is blown. So what you're saying is all those times we felt totally in over our heads, those might have been our training montage for something even bigger and bolder down the road.
Yeah.
I like the sound of that.
It's true. And it all comes back to that idea the author keeps coming back to, right? Light reveals what's already there, action refines it, but it's those personal experiences, those lions and bears, that build the real, unshakable inner faith of a true giant killer. It's not about waiting around. It's about recognizing those moments are shaping you right now, in this very moment.
So we're all carrying around these highlight reels of our own bravery, of resilience, all those wins, and we might not even realize how much we've already handled, right? It's like,
yeah,
we've got to be our own hype squad before anyone else can be,
That's a perfect way to put it. And when that spotlight moment arrives, when you get the chance to really step into the fullness of what that light revealed, you won't be starting from square one. Not at all. You'll have this whole well of experience to draw from, this inner voice that says, I've got this.
I love that. And that's maybe the biggest takeaway here. It's not about being fearless or never ever feeling any doubt. Not at all. It's about realizing that those doubts and fears, those lions and bears along the way, they're not the enemy. They're part of what makes us stronger. It's all about how we choose to react to them,
Yes, 100%. It's about flipping the script in our minds, seeing those challenges as opportunities for growth, for learning. You know, it reminds me of something a mentor once told me.
Okay, wait, hold up. You have to share this gem with us. What'd your mentor say?
He said, every giant you face is a chance to unlock a new giant slaying skill inside yourself.
Ooh, okay, I like that.
Right.
I'm taking notes. But it makes you think, though, what if David had just stayed out there in those fields, just content with the occasional lion or bear? He would have missed out on that whole epic face-off with Goliath, that chance to really step into his destiny.
And isn't that the real message at the heart of all of this? It's not just about overcoming whatever obstacles get thrown our way. It's about becoming the best, most fully realized versions of ourselves. It's about realizing those lions and bears, those Goliath moments, they're not there to break us. They're there to awaken that inner giant killer we all have inside.
Man, I feel like I just leveled up just by listening to this.
So
So as we wrap up this deep dive into unlocking that inner giant killer, here's a final thought to ponder. Don't underestimate the power of those lions and bears you've already faced in your own life. Seriously.
they're proof,
Yeah.
hard evidence that you're capable of truly incredible things.
And who knows? Maybe that giant you're facing right now,
Yeah.
that might just be the stepping stone to your biggest victory yet. Thanks for joining us for this awesome journey into courage and potential. We'll catch you next time for another deep dive exploring a brand new topic. Until then, remember, you've got this. You're already giant killer in the making.